ADHD Cringe contingent. About a month ago, I was sitting at my desk in a Boston hotel room trying to write for this show. Directly across from me were two portraits, one of Paul Revere, one of George Washington. Both just staring at me, very side-eyed, very watchy, very colonial.
As portraits in Boston do tend to be.
And I got to thinking and overthinking, which led me down a full colonial rabbit hole. I grew up in Pennsylvania, and when America turned 200 in 1976, my elementary school painted a bicentennial mural in the cafeteria. I was honored with the task of painting Molly Pitcher, life-size. The girls wore mop hats, the boys had three-cornered hats. We did the bicentennial full send.
And, of course, you painted Molly Pitcher.
She spoke to me even then. And 50 years later, I finally know why. America turns 250 years old on July 4th.
And Canada turns 159 on July 1st.
And somewhere between that hotel room and this episode, the ADHD founder spectrum was born. You'll find the full chart in the show notes, but right now, let's talk about the people and the beast modes that got our countries built.
The founders, undiagnosed, untreated, in wool coats all summer long.
And we are here to make the case off the record, extremely off the record, that both of these countries were quite possibly built by our people, just absolutely going for it.
100% beast mode.
Okay, American lineup. First up, Benjamin Franklin, the ADHD Hall of Famer.
Hey, Steph, what's up with Spaghetti Bear there?
Oh, you mean his colonial attire?
Mm-hmm. 'Cause?
Yeah, well, he made that himself. It's supposed to be C-U-S, Canada, United States.
And he used a Z? Oh, sorry, Z in American for the S?
Yeah, he thinks it gives him more street cred. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, Benjamin Franklin dropped out of school at 10. 10! Invented swim fins at 11. Went on to invent bifocals, the lightning rod, the Franklin stove, the flexible catheter, the glass harmonica, and a new English alphabet because he felt the existing one had too many redundant letters. Nobody used the alphabet. He moved on. Next! Classic ADHD.
The catheter and the glass harmonica in the same lifetime. Huh. Polymath. Just a fancy word, I think, for someone who couldn't pick just one hyperfixation.
He took daily air baths, sat naked in front of an open window, just reading for his health.
Yikes. I hope you're also about to say he invented Roman shades.
He also once tried to cook a turkey using electricity and electrocuted himself. And while serving as the U.S. ambassador to France at age 75, he wrote a formal essay on flatulence and submitted it to the Royal Academy of Science.
Formally submitting an essay about passing gas to the UK's prestigious Science Academy on behalf of the Americans? Well, that is the original Colonial Cringe Lab. He also published an advice essay on how to choose a mistress.
France was the perfect fit. Ben was also the life of the party. One game he liked to play was just simply shocking people.
With his fondness for airbathing?
No, actual shocking. He'd line up the party guests, have them hold hands, and pass a current of electricity through them.
For fun.
Yes, shocking them for fun. Franklin was basically his own ADHD coach without even knowing it. He built himself a 13 virtues checklist, an entire system. And then under the virtue of order, he wrote that he simply could not master it. His messy habits were his biggest obstacle, and he nearly scrapped the whole system.
Relatable, Benny.
Never leave till tomorrow what you can do today. He wrote that. That's evening you, doomsday prepping for the morning you.
Well done is better than well said. Task initiations, Benster?
Energy and persistence conquer all things. That is dopamine talking. The man was coaching himself through an undiagnosed life and accidentally wrote half of our protocols.
He never ran out of next. So let's move on to Alexander Hamilton. Couldn't let it go, colonial edition. So Alexander Hamilton, orphaned in the Caribbean, lied about his age to get into college, wrote a letter about a hurricane so vividly that strangers pooled money to send him to New York for school. Classic. Crisis activates the ADHD brain energy.
And then he wrote 51 out of the 85 Federalist Papers in 6 months. That is either the most extraordinary hyperfocus event in American history or a medical emergency, possibly both.
He also became a lawyer without finishing law school, founded the New York Post, and was Washington's right-hand man during the war.
And then there were the affairs of honor,
The what?
the duels, or almost duels. Hamilton was involved in 11 of them. 11! 10 were negotiated down before anyone got shot. His friends and advisors spent years basically running around behind him saying, no, 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 dude, we just did this last week. And Alex, man, get thyself a new hobby.
And the 11th?
Aaron Burr. Hamilton had months to walk it back. He refused. He showed up, and he may have even thrown his shot on purpose.
He threw his shot?
Historians think so, which means his last act was simultaneously noble and the most infuriating ADHD thing a person has ever done. You had an out, Alexander.
If he had only known rejection sensitivity dysphoria, it's a thing.
Let it go, Alexander. We have a whole episode on that, ironically. Next up, Samuel Adams, patron saint of late bloomers. Samuel Adams, Harvard educated, clearly brilliant. And the moment he stepped into the real world, completely fell apart. Because the real world required executive functioning, and Sam Adams' brain ran exclusively on dopamine, urgency, and things he actually found interesting.
The British should have seen it coming. His thesis was literally about whether it's legal to overthrow your government.
He got fired from his first job for being too distracted by politics to focus. His father loaned him money to start a business. He lent half to a friend who never paid him back and lost the rest. Inherited a functioning brewery, ran it into the ground, became a tax collector, and stopped collecting taxes.
How do you just stop collecting taxes?
You have ADHD, and the job requires the same uncomfortable conversation 800 times door to door.
I get hives just thinking about it.
Historians call it kindness, and maybe it was. But also, if you have ADHD and you can avoid making one uncomfortable phone call, you will try 17 other ways to handle it first.
Yeah, if it can be done online, well, that's how it's getting done, even if you spend 40 minutes on a website that doesn't work and still have to call.
It's 1756. Nothing can be done that doesn't involve a horse ride. His avoidance primed his political career.
Chose the path of least resistance, called it a kindness.
Right, and then he just hearth-hopped his way through colonial New England. Taverns, late-night debates, friends' houses.
Oh, and I'm sure his friends' wives were just thrilled. Can't he go and visit John Adams now? Isn't there some political discourse over at the Green Dragon tonight? How is this man on a beer bottle?
Samuel Adams Beer, not a sponsor.
Not yet.
His brain didn't run on routine, it ran on urgency. And nothing urgent had happened yet until
The British did something stupid.
they started taxing everything. And suddenly, high stakes, high novelty, chaos, crisis, underground committees, secret organization, furious pamphlets written under a dozen different pseudonyms, grassroots movements, one chaotic political fire after another.
The British Crown spent years trying to control the colonies and accidentally built the perfect ADHD work environment.
Samuel Adams didn't find his purpose at age 43. The British Crown built it for him, brick by brick, tax by tax.
The most expensive mistake in British history was essentially an ADHD accommodation. Let's move on to John Hancock, impulsivity with a very large quill. We really have to talk about John Hancock and that signature.
We do. The legend is he signed the Declaration of Independence with a signature so large that King George could read it without his spectacles. Bold political statement. But also, they had been in that room for days. Philadelphia, July, no air conditioning, wool coats, wigs, windows closed because of the flies.
The epitome of boring.
And something about Hancock that doesn't make the history books, whenever the political situation got too complicated, too Too many competing demands, too much tedious diplomatic heavy lifting. Hancock would suddenly come down with a debilitating case of gout.
Strategic gout.
Historians noted that his gout conveniently peaked at moments of intense political pressure. That is not gout. That is an ADHD bandwidth collapse with a period-appropriate exit strategy.
Neurorecovery. Hey, that's an episode 2.
Paul Revere cried, "The British are coming!" John Hancock cried, "Gout!"
Same energy, different horse.
And then came the signature. Hancock, in full wig, silk damask waistcoat, every ribbon wilting, looked at that giant feather Hogwarts quill and made a decision. People, I am done deliberating. I am hot, my wig is uncurling, and somebody's got to get this party started. Then he grabbed that quill and he wrote his name so large that it became synonymous for signatures.
Environmental impulsivity that accidentally became iconic.
The most ADHD outcome possible.
Next up, Paul Revere. Never stopped, not even at night. Paul Revere never stopped moving. Midnight rider, silversmith, dentist, bell founder, spy, hardware store owner, bronze caster, jewelry maker, engraver, cutlery artisan, founder of the Revere Copper Products, not a sponsor, which is still in existence today, and printer of currency and political propaganda.
Whew. Not collecting interest like Franklin, just constitutionally incapable of sitting down. And people energized him. Every committee, every tavern, every midnight crisis. That was Paul Revere's nervous system running exactly as designed.
Franklin invented things alone in a room. Revere needed a room full of people.
Same ADHD, completely different nervous system.
And obviously, the midnight ride was at night, which means Paul Revere couldn't sleep, had a revolutionary crisis to deal with, and decided the solution was to get on a horse.
One of the ADHD sleep hacks we talk about is don't keep your phone in your bedroom. But it's 1775, and the phone is a horse and a lantern. Same energy.
And he didn't even finish the ride. He was captured by the British. 2 other men completed it.
But Paul Revere is the one history remembered. You know why?
He made the most noise getting started.
He made the most noise doing everything, not as a strategy, just because he couldn't stop.
That is ADHD on a fast horse.
Okay, next up, Betsy Ross, the all-nighter, possibly. Betsy Ross was an expert seamstress. She ran her own upholstery shop, and before we get to the flag, at 21, she fell in love with a guy from the wrong side of the Delaware River, that is. Her family threatened to cut her off entirely.
So, after careful consideration,
She crossed that river and eloped.
0 long-term risk assessment. Every ADHD person who has ever torched their entire support system because something felt completely right. We see you, Betsy.
Yeah, she didn't blow up her life impulsively. She blew it up on purpose.
When an ADHD brain decides, it decides. The rest, just logistics. Okay, so what about this flag?
She locked in, pulled an all-nighter, and possibly produced one of America's most recognizable brand assets.
Again with the word possibly.
Possibly. The documentation is frustratingly thin. However, she did show none other than George Washington himself how to cut a 5-pointed star in one-snip. He didn't believe it could be done.
The ADHD efficiency hack. Find the shortcut because the long way feels physically painful.
And just to bookend Betsy's story here.
Let me guess, another crossing of the Delaware? You Americans sure do love that river.
Yes. And there is speculation that Betsy Ross, described only as a beautiful young widow, distracted a Hessian general long enough for Washington to cross the Delaware and win the Battle of Trenton, a turning point in the war.
They didn't use her name.
Beautiful young widow. That's what they wrote.
We may never know the full truth, and that's not a small thing.
Next up, Mammy Kate, the most unhinged rescue operation in Revolutionary history. Mammy Kate was an enslaved woman in Georgia. She was over 6 feet tall. Her husband was Daddy Jack. The man who enslaved them both, Colonel Stephen Hurd, was captured by the British and scheduled for execution.
And when Mammy Kate decided to save him, she went full speed ahead. Of course she did.
She and Daddy Jack came up with a plan, spent days gaining the trust of the British guards by doing their laundry.
Why does ADHD always involve laundry?
When she asked to bring Hurd clean clothes, the guards let her through. After all, what danger could a slave woman pose?
Oh, they had no idea.
She took a large laundry basket into that prison. And what did she say to him when she got there?
This'll be good.
She said to Hurd, "I've come to set you free. I'm going to sneak you out of here as sure as porcupines prick beavers."
That is the most unhinged motivational statement in the history of the American Revolution, and I want it on a t-shirt.
He got in the basket, she placed it on her head, and they walked out.
She carried a man out of a British prison on her head. But that wasn't recklessness. That was personal agency inside an impossible system. She and Daddy Jack chose this plan together. She read every soldier in that room. She found their blind spot and appeared completely routine while executing something extraordinary.
And after, Colonel Hurd became governor of Georgia. Mammy Kate and Daddy Jack stayed. All three are buried together in the Hurd family cemetery.
And the recognition?
In 2011, Mammy Kate was honored as a patriot by both the daughters and by the sons of the American Revolution.
232 years later.
Yep, 232 years later. Okay, time for Molly Pitcher. Do not interrupt her when she is in the zone. Molly Pitcher. Her real name was Mary Ludwig Hayes. The day before the battle that made her famous, she went out and found the water spring.
Evening you sets up morning you. I think that needs a moment. That is a crucial, not on the official, to-do list step.
Exactly. Then the battle starts. Brutally hot day, over 100 degrees. All day long, she hauls water, answering soldiers' calls. "Molly, pitcher! Pitcher of water!"
Ah, hence the name, Molly Pitcher.
Yeah. Her husband is a gunner. He collapses at the cannon. So,
She fires the cannon.
yeah, zero hesitation, zero calculation. The chaos doesn't stop her. It activates her. She grabbed the ramrod, just loading the cannonballs.
And then, boom! A British cannonball passes right between her legs, tore the bottom off her skirt.
And she said, and I am quoting, "Well, that could have been worse," and went back to loading the cannon.
Her brain was too locked in to let fear through. That's her, in the zone.
Well liked by everyone, even though she often cursed like a soldier.
She was a soldier.
She was.
ADHD communication is an entirely different battlefield. We have a whole series devoted to that, actually.
Pennsylvania eventually gave her a pension, $40 a year for services rendered. They didn't specify which ones.
She fired a cannon under enemy fire and got $40 a year and a rest stop on the New Jersey Turnpike.
The Molly Pitcher Service Area, Cranberry, New Jersey. Look it up. We're not a sponsor of this rest stop.
Maybe one day. Road trip. So I need to say something on behalf of Canada, though, before we head up to the Canadian lineup.
Please.
So tens of thousands of people looked at all of this. The chaos, the cannon fire, the laundry baskets, the farting essays, the who really made the flag debates, the giant signature, and made a completely reasonable decision to move north. Those were my people, the loyalists. We respected the revolution, and we watched from a reasonable distance, and then we built a country.
And now here you are, co-hosting a show about ADHD with me, an American, doing an episode on the American Revolution and the Canadian Confederation.
Looks like the revolution found me anyway. And so did the next two folks I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with Fernand Thor, and I have to be honest, I'm still learning how to say her name. Fernand Thor, the Ambassadress of Peace. She is Dene Southlene from northern Manitoba, and she should be as famous as any of the men that we've talked about today.
Well, why isn't she?
Because nobody thought to write about her. She is in a footnote in someone else's journal.
This pattern is exhausting.
Around 1697, she was captured by the Cree in a raid.
Oh, no.
And she didn't use her time in captivity waiting around to be rescued. She learned her captor's language and she formulated a plan. She escaped into the subarctic wilderness. Her companion, her sole companion, soon died, but she kept going alone until she stumbled onto a Hudson's Bay Company hunting party.
I bet the very first thing she did after eating a ham sandwich was figure out a way to make herself an integral part of that camp.
That is absolutely what she did.
Of course she did. So she's bilingual now?
Trilingual. English, Cree, and Dene Southlene. And my apologies for my pronunciation. So the whole northern fur trade is stalled because her people and the Cree are at war. So she decides, I'll fix it.
How?
By walking straight into the manager's office. She tells him, I'll broker the peace. He agrees. They assemble a small group and head out into the subarctic.
In the winter.
In the winter, 10 months of travel, setbacks, and a group that kept wanting to quit.
Well, yeah. Remember Samuel Adams needed the British to accidentally build him the perfect world before his brain activated?
Fernando Thorpe didn't wait for anyone to build her anything.
What did she do when the group wanted to quit?
She left them behind. She walked on ahead alone. Came back 10 days later with 100 of her own people.
She kept her own momentum. Even the smallest motion forward can snowball, literally in her case, in the subarctic.
And here's another thing that makes her unique. No external deadline. No personal relationship on the line. Not a single immediate crisis moment. She could just see the peace, like already, like it was already real. And then she couldn't unsee it.
That's the rarest ADHD beast mode in this entire episode.
Self-generated. No outside activation required.
No longer a footnote.
So the next person I'd like to tell you about is Laura Secord, Crisis Activation, Niagara Edition. So picture it, Laura Secord. It's the War of 1812. Nursing her wounded husband, Americans occupying her town, and American soldiers billeted in her house.
Wait, war with America?
Among others, yeah.
I thought that was the British.
We were the British, technically. We were a British colony.
Oh. So, America declared war on Canada.
America declared war on Britain, but then showed up at our house.
Awkward. Sorry about that.
It happens. So, at dinner, she overhears them planning a surprise attack on the British, and she just sits there, completely composed, not one flicker of expression in her face.
Just serving up that resentment pot roast, masking at the highest possible stakes.
And then the soldiers left.
And?
She left, cross country, through a swamp, 18 hours, 32 kilometers. That's almost 20 miles in American.
We managed to free ourselves from the rule of the British, but not from their measurement system.
An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Shout out to Ben Franklin and his virtues.
Hey, but it is. Anyway.
Okay, one laser-focused destination. Get to the British outpost at Beaver Dams. Warn Commander Fitzgibbon. Nothing else existed for Laura Secord.
Crisis-activated tunnel vision. Pain, terror, exhaustion. Couldn't get through.
She finds a camp of First Nations warriors, is escorted to Beaver Dams, delivers the intel, and the American troops?
Forced retreat.
She changed the outcome of a battle.
Applied for a pension.
Refused.
Twice.
Acknowledged in her 80s.
Footnote. Again. And now my favorite part. Laura Secord was born in Massachusetts.
She was American? Sacre bleu!
Born American, moved north, became one of Canada's greatest heroes by saving them from the Americans. The revolution found her too, just like it found you.
You planned that callback.
I plan everything. It's peace, order, and good segueing.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I realized? America and Canada have the same diagnosis, just different presentations.
America is hyperactive ADHD, just absolutely going. No filter. Dual accepted. Flatulence essay submitted. Cannon fired. Sign the thing. It's hot.
Okay, and Canada is inattentive ADHD, thoughtful, reasonable, excellent intentions, scheduled 17 meetings about it.
We didn't forget to build a country. We just took our time getting the paperwork in.
Yet somehow you beat us to universal health care.
We had a very organized committee.
Of course you did.
We are, however, still meeting about some meetings.
Different diagnoses, different coping strategies.
Same show, though.
Same show.
Same show.
Bottom line, none of these people had a diagnosis. There was no DSM-5, no framework, no prescription. The women especially, Mammy Kate, Molly Pitcher, Betsy Ross, Fernando Laura Secord, are documented in footnotes and clothed in speculation because nobody wrote it down properly. Beautiful young widow, services rendered. Well, it could have been her.
And that's not just the story of the Revolution or of the Canadian Confederation. That's actually the story of ADHD in women. For decades, ADHD was a hyperactive little boys thing. The girls who were daydreamy, couldn't stay focused, too emotional, too sensitive, inattentive. They got called dramatic, difficult, too much. They got footnotes.
And seats by the classroom windows. Molly Pitcher cursed like a soldier, fired a cannon, changed the outcome of a battle, and got $40 a year. We see you, Molly. We see all of you.
Fernando sustained a vision for 10 months across 3 cultures until peace was made. And we have to reconstruct her from somebody else's journal. Laura Secord walked 32 kilometers through a swamp and waited 50 years for a thank you. It's not a small thing.
None of these people thrived despite the chaos. They thrived because of it. The ADHD brain doesn't survive crisis moments. It was built for them. Sound familiar?
They built 2 countries.
So on this 250th birthday, America, our deeply felt, science-backed ADHD admiration to every founder, known and unknown. The man who invented half of civilization and never ran out of next. The one who wrote 51 papers in 6 months and died because he couldn't let it go. The one whose brain needed the right emergency and the British delivered. The one who couldn't sleep, grabbed a lantern, and got on a horse. The one remembered for possibly designing the flag, but should be remembered for more. The one who walked bravely into a British prison and out with a prisoner in a laundry basket. The one who put down the pitcher to man the cannon.
And on Canada's 159th, same admiration in our own dialect. To the woman who envisioned peace and made it a reality. To the woman who calmly gathered dangerous intel at dinner and didn't stop until it was delivered. Missions complete. And to the country that looked at all the chaos south of the border and said, we can do this differently. Peace, order, and good government, written on purpose. That's not boring. That's the accommodations.
America was built on ADHD. Canada was built on the accommodations. And so, my fellow wool coat wearers, ask not what your ADHD can do for you. Ask what you can do
with your ADHD. Happy 250th birthday, America, and happy 159, Canada.
From 2 ADHD coaches, one Canadian, one American, globally sophisticated, locally chaotic. The ADHD Cringe Lab podcast is coming very soon.
Our trailer is live now on YouTube.
We did the ADHD thing and released an episode before launching the show.
Yeah, we did.
Of course we did.
Find us, watch the trailer, and follow us so you don't miss the launch. And if you just saw yourself in any of these founders, well, there's a quiz for that. Link is in the show notes.
And there's a whole show for that. the ADHD Cringe Lab podcast.